What's up guys, it's Mil here, and in this video I'm going to cover a replay from round 1, game 1, Get This Money against Hiyee. I want to analyze this battle because I like the team from Get This Money. I tried to build around this score a lot in the past. So yeah, Get This Money or GTM participates in many tournament matches. Also I battled him in a German league. We went 1 and 2. I lost in the first match. I 6-0'd him in the second match. It was very close, and in the third match I got destroyed. So yeah, I don't know much about Hiyee, but you know, he qualified, so that's it. That's all I know about him. He doesn't have a lot of posts on Smogon. So yeah, let's look at the team from Get This Money, because I like that a lot. It is built around a very solid defensive backbone of Hippowdon and Latios. Hippowdon checks many defensive checks many offensive or physical attackers like low pony and other stuff. You know, if the physical hit isn't super effective, Hippowdon can wall it almost everything in the OU game except for Medicham. And then we have Latios, which checks special attacker like Charizard Y, Keldeo and such, which Hippowdon can't handle at all. And then these two get destroyed by fairies. That's the reason why he has a Ferrothorn. So yeah, this is a pretty solid backbone in my opinion. And then he has 2 Volt Switchers, which may seem odd because Manectric and Rotom have similar jobs. Manectric being the most offensive one. There's also Raikou. I guess Rotom is the first one, then there's Raikou, and then there's Manectric, which go for Volt Turn. But Rotom provides slow Volt Switches and Manectric provides fast Volt Switches. And also Manectric is a threat against more offensive teams, because if the opponent doesn't have something that outspeeds Manectric, it just rips through the opposing team. So Volt Switches, as we know from NJNP, Volt Switches are good to bring in a threat like Hooper or even Latios, because Latios can drop Dracos when Manectric or Rotom went for U-turns. And also I like this synergy because Manectric can Volt Switch, and the things you bring in on Volt Switch are probably things like a Hippowdon or bulky ground types, all kinds of bulky ground types. And on these you oftentimes can switch in Rotom, because Rotom Rotom has very good physical bulk, and you can switch in on almost everything. Stone Edges don't hurt it too much. And then you can go into Rotom, go for Hydro Pump or Volt Switch from there, get a free burn, and then go back to Manectric. They tend to switch in their Clefable or even Lati on Rotom. If they switch Lati, you can go Manectric, go for Volt Switch again on the Lati, then switch into Ferrothorn if it doesn't have HP Fire, and then go for Spike, for example, gaining a lot of momentum, setting up spikes. So this is what I like a lot on the team. And this Hooper, I think it is an offensive one. I guess it could be Choice Band or Life Orb, but I guess it's the standard Wall Breaker mixed attacker with Life Orb, because he doesn't have much to handle Clefable, so it has to have Gunk Shot or something. Mixed attacker, maybe Drain Punch, Hyperspace Fury. I don't know, we will see. And then we have Latios. It has to have Defog, because otherwise the team just, you know, there's Hippowdon, there's Manectric, there's Hooper and Ferrothorn, which don't like hazards at all. So and then it has to have Roost, because you have to be able to switch into Keldeo a lot when you have a Hippowdon and a Rotom, and also Hooper, which doesn't outspeed Keldeo. So yeah, then we have Latios, which defogs and is also a threat. It can drop Dracos if you Volt Switch it in correctly. At Hiyee's team, I don't really know what it's about, if I'm honest. Maybe because I don't build a lot around Slowbro, but it kind of might make sense, because he has a Raikou and a Tornadus. You know, he has some walls, some pivots, Tornadus to check the special attackers like Gengar, Alakazam, which threaten Slowbro, and Slowbro to take on physical attackers which Tornadus can't handle. This is probably an offensive scissor because his team doesn't have much offensive pressure at all. This Raikou should be some setup set with Calm Mind, because I don't know, it just looks too passive to me. If you look at Get This Money's team, you know, there are momentum gainers there. There's a Hip Hooper, there's Latios, you set up spikes, but Hiyee's team is a little bit too passive in my opinion. But yeah, this is my take on Hiyee's team. Not much I can tell really. It doesn't look... It's very weak to hazards. It just loses to stuff like Charizard Y. Actually, look at the battle. It goes 60 turns, I guess. And I will click very fast because there are many standard plays you all know and that aren't very interesting. Yeah, so let's just click here, start this thing. Get This Money leading with Rotom. Rotom was obviously his best place because there's nothing really that can touch Rotom immediately because of Clefable, unless he's Clefable. He goes for Volt Switch on the Garchomp, which is a very good play. Garchomp is burned. And now he goes for the very obvious play and goes for the Gunk Shot on the Scizor. He doesn't have to fear the pursuit because Hiyee has nothing that appreciates Lati's being gone. That's why I don't think that he doesn't have pursuit, and I think Get This Money thought that he didn't have pursuit either. He has to go for Volt Switch, or he goes for Woolers on here. I don't like that play so much. Volt Switch would have been better in my opinion to gain some momentum. Even if he went into Garchomp or Raikou, he still would be in a better spot. He goes on Ferrothorn. He goes to Ferrothorn and Clefable. Charbol does a lot to Clefable if it's the standard set, and this doesn't look like it's physically defensive because it has to take hits from things like Kyurem, for example. And also, this also goes for Knockoff. Looks like it is the defensive set because it does so well with Clefable and Garchomp. So he goes into Clefable again on the Ferrothorn, and there he sets up the spikes. Clefable actually does nothing to Ferrothorn, which is very clear. And now here a few turns of Heat Wave, Knockoff, and Hurricanes. But GTM manages to get up the rocks, which is crucial because he has no means of hazard removal. Scizor is a very bad hazard remover because he has to run Roost, Bullet Punch, Knockoff, and such. He has no room for defog. So this is crucial that he got off all these hazards, because look at his team. It dies to hazards. He gets the burn on the Rotom, so yeah, he has to go for Pain Split actually on this round. Everything is at good health on Hiyee's team, and he's free to Volt Switch. He goes into Ferrothorn, and he has to switch out with his Ferrothorn on the Tornadus. He switches in Hippowdon on the Tornadus, has to gain momentum. Goes back into Rotom, standard plays. Goes on a Manectric actually on the Slowbro. Yeah, but look at the damage on Raikou. Rocks plus spikes plus T-Bolt, and now there's Volt Switch coming. Raikou's dead. Raikou's actually dead now because of sand, because of it cannot switch in anymore, and it does nothing to Raikou. This is the last attack you're going to see from Raikou. So he went for Volt Switch on the Tornadus. He went on the Hippowdon on the Tornadus. So he went into Hippowdon, he went to Tornadus, gone for U-turn, goes into Slowbro, and yeah, he goes into Latios, Scizor. All Tornadus are both free switches. There's no way that he's running Endpower Fire because he has to Roost a lot. His team relies on gaining back health and then winning through hazards. Manectric is obviously a Scizor, which likes to switch on Scizor, but he goes into Ferrothorn, and this is where not this turn but later, where Clefable sets up. But he goes into Ferrothorn, switches out into Manectric again. Manectric has the HP Ice, and he can Volt Switch again here, can go into Ferrothorn actually, or go into back into Hooper. He goes for the Gunk Shot, I guess. No, he goes into Garchomp to sag it, tries to trick the Clefable, that reveals that he's a Choice Scarf set. And that was, if you got the trick off on Clefable, that would have been good game, I guess, because there's no way he's going to win after that with all the hazards and Clefable being useless without recovery and also without being able to switch moves. So he goes into Manectric here, Scissor switches out because Bullet Punch doesn't kill and Flamethrower kills. He goes for T-Bolt, which is a good play. Damage the Clefable, goes for Volt Switch here, so that it has to heal, so that Hooper has a free switch. And now, I don't know why he... Yeah, Hooper is good play. He goes for Gunk Shot again, I guess. Raikou Sag is coming, then he's down too. But the problem is Hooper doesn't put in much work actually, because Scizor can switch in all the time on the Gunk Shot and you cannot kill Clefable. He sacked his Hooper here. It was important for the Clefable, but as I said, he couldn't break through the team with it because he had Scizor. He wants to go for Gunk Shot on the Clefable, but it doesn't work. So maybe he should have predicted Scizor and went for an attack. And also he didn't want to lose momentum, get a free switch into something that can handle Clefable. That's the reason why he sacked Hooper, I guess. In my opinion, a Life Orb set would have been better. But yeah, Scarf set is good too against Stall, for example. Because then you can trick something like, I don't know, Chansey, Skarmory. And then one team member is gone and then you actually put in some work. When you beat one team member of Stall, it's basically over. So he repeatedly goes for Gyro Ball here, and then for Power Whip. Clefable sets up nothing really interesting here. And as you see, Clefable is very, very hard to beat. It's almost too much for you sometimes. But, you know, one manages to beat it, you know. Look at GTM sacking 2.5 Pokemon just to beat Clefable. Okay, Clefable is gone. And now, this is really getting close now. U-turn on the Latios. He goes for Roost actually. It's a pretty good play. Now he's free to go for Draco. I think Scizor dies with all the hazard damage. So he switches out for a reason. I would have gone for Draco there, if I'm honest. I don't know why he switched out. He had no switch in. Scizor would have died. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe that was the point where he couldn't do much. But Ferrothorn gets parried here, goes for Heat Wave, kills it. Manectric comes in, revenges the Tornadus. And now Manectric is in range of the Bullet Punch. And yeah, this is actually one of the last turns. He goes for Bullet Punch here. And his Draco, his Psyshock doesn't kill, but Draco kills. So he has to go for the Psyshock. He has to crit this Draco actually, or get a very high roll. But he doesn't get it, and Slowbro wins. Very close game. So yeah, and this was a GG. I want to make a quick correction about turn 60. I said that this was a joke, that he didn't win for Draco. But actually it was not, because I did some calculations. So let's say Lati goes for Draco on the Slowbro. Slowbro dies 100%. Then he goes into Scizor. Scizor is at 62%. And after Rocks and Spikes, Rocks does 12, so he'll be at 50. And after Spikes, he will be at 25, because he has 3 layers. -2 Draco does not kill Scizor, it does 20 max, and Scizor will be at 20% coming, 25% coming in. So that means Scizor can roost up on Latios, and then go for setup, go for roost, then go for SD, and then basically win the game.